Welcome, ladies and gents, to the first Love on Laser Tag podcast for our TNT Members Nights. I am host number one, Mischief.
I'm your second host, the Fear Turkey.
I'm Sergeant Tucker.
This would be Dr. Feelgood.
You can't wave,
Mace?
Caleb.
Mace 5534, I guess.
Slaughtermelon's over there.
He's just being a turd.
Just being a turd.
Your face is
What is your code name anyway, Mason?
Just Mass.
Mass?
Yeah, Mass
555, right?
No, 5534.
Oh, 5534. Why is it that specifically? I am actually curious.
one of the best.
It's a secret. We'll find out later.
Yeah.
No secret.
Ooh.
So we're starting this podcast to track our progress as our members become better, faster, harder, stronger. Let's talk about some of the highlights of tonight's practice. So we started out with a random, I believe.
Oh boy.
It was
Yeah, that was the random.
pretty fun.
Because I got heavy.
See, Troy did a really good job on Commander, but he barely had any shots because Caleb was playing ammo, and he was scoring just about as many points as he was on the offense.
But did we win?
You
No.
Yeah, you won.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Oh.
Troy
yeah.
has 0 shots.
Troy was always like running away from me as the heavy. He was like,
But did we win?
you did.
Yeah.
That's all that ever matters to you, Caleb. Winning,
But
isn't it?
Did we
Yes.
win?
Call him
Self-improvement
the
matters too.
Good.
Yeah.
How'd that feel on your guys' end?
It's like 4 bases.
Felt like a lot of missed synergy.
Yeah.
There was a lot of stuff going on that shouldn't have. Me and Dylan were doing really well on our resupply doubles. Like we were not missing.
That was good medic practice for me.
We were doing really good on resupplies and just defense in general. We were doing super well. We eventually started getting ripped apart because we didn't really have a very consistent offense.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
Like,
your offense was Joe. I saw Joe as the medic more than anybody.
I was the heavy. I wasn't the medic.
Oh, I was medic.
Oh, you were medic?
I saw you come into my cubby more than Poe ever did.
Well,
but
because
he scored
like,
a lot of points.
Noah was trying to just like play defensively for some reason. So like I think I got myself to like 20 and 20 is where I ended my count. I just was like, I'm gonna go keep their attention on me upstairs so they don't come downstairs, and that's pretty much why I did that.
Well, let's go into the next game. That was the one we recorded. That'll be playing during this podcast. It was
It was the
it
first.
was
the first
Dr.
built game?
That was a
Feelgood,
4v5.
Turkey, Mass, and Tucker on Commander.
he looks like Quantum on it, but he just didn't scan his card because he
Yeah.
was lazy.
Yeah,
It's not
Joe.
lazy. My cards aren't working. I need new ones.
But you guys slaughtered. I saw Slaughtermelon downstairs a lot, begging for lives and resupplies, and it looked like he had a hard time
I
keeping up.
needed shots.
You needed shots a lot.
I lost that game by 300 points because I had a suicidal heavy and no shots.
Yeah.
Yes.
I double nuked out the your guys' heavy like pretty much right away.
As the ammo, I was winning 4 out of 5 of the engagements I was fighting with him because Joe and I were just hammering him.
I was poking him out from Funbox. He was getting
Yeah.
tilted. He was like, "Why?"
And then he was directly like trying to trade with me, but I had just put 2 into him before
What?
he could hit me.
Yeah, and then I felt really bad because I was just constantly on top of what is it? It's Poe and what's Bromley's code name?
Siberian Death
Siberian
95.
Death. I was just constantly
call
on
him
top
Bromley.
of them. Yeah, I was constantly on top of them and Troy, and they just never could spawn because I was just the way I was moving with our maze. I never lost sight of them.
Yeah, from a recording perspective, I never seen you move so fast, Tucker.
All
You were
things
running
fair.
everywhere.
all things considered, that game Caleb was playing a monstrous commander. It was so
It
hard.
was.
The
It was tough
defense
to
You
was
did have
just
the
getting-
highest score out of everybody.
Our defense was just getting ripped apart. Slaughtermelon was just all over us. He put like 2 missiles into me that game.
I'm glad I survived.
Everyone on
You
the
did.
defense I have to commend because I couldn't get missile locks for longer than 2 tones. Everyone either got around a corner or dodged it fast enough.
See, you ended up having all 5 left.
I never got one off.
Caleb, you got
Might wanna be a
all
little closer to
4
the mic,
except
my
for
dude.
1.
All 4 except
Yeah,
for
probably.
1.
Let's see, the game after that. Oh, that was the one where we stayed downstairs and rotated around.
Yeah.
That was a hard knock life.
That was an awkward
Slaughtermelon
game.
and
Yeah.
Slaughtermelon and Loki went Commander and Scout, and they were upstairs. I don't know how they survived so long without
That game was
resupplies,
So Troy was not upstairs. He was
No.
definitely in my back.
Yeah.
It's literally just me.
It
That's
was
what I
it
trying
was
to
me
say.
against 5 of
Oh.
you and Caleb against 5 of you, and unfortunately I was having a real hard time because every single time I would fight either Mischief on heavy, it was like, okay, well, he's outplaying me, or I would be like downing Mischief and going in on your resupplies, and then Loki would just shoot me in the back with rapid
He
fire.
saved my butt a few times.
It was atrocious. I couldn't beat you
We-
guys.
And yeah, Caleb was alone on Commander. I just didn't want to give him all that credit, but he
Yeah.
did score almost 10K that game.
The beginning of that game, we did really we were really disenergized, but by the end of it, I feel like me and Dr. Feelsgood were doing really good with our doubles. Like we even we held Caleb and you out of Slaughtermelon and Mischief out of the fun box for like a solid 2 minutes while I was on 1 life.
We were having a lot of issues. I couldn't get shots. Poe died super early.
Alex was having a rough time prioritizing his targets. Like he was trying
For
to watch.
everyone who doesn't know who that is, that's Len Kelly.
Len
Alex.
Kelly, is that what his screen name is?
Yeah, Len
Yeah,
Kelly.
okay.
And he's doing really well coming in new. He has a lot of experience with laser tag. He'd worked here a few years ago. He just needs to learn all his game sense.
Yeah.
He's having a hard time knowing who to prioritize, like you said, and he seems to have random movements sometimes. He'll walk around not knowing quite sure where he's supposed to be based on his role,
Yeah.
but he is good at tagging you before you can tag him.
He's also extremely loud. That guy communicates
Yeah.
super well.
He does.
He
picked
will
up on
let
it
you
quick.
know what's going on.
And he's tall, which sucks for everyone else who's not tall.
He just peeks over that fun box. He's like, I see you.
Going up against an experienced commander like Slaughtermelon, though, I can
It's-
understand how he
yeah.
had a hard time.
It's rough. Well, and even
After
Slaughtermelon was, before we move on to the next one, even Slaughtermelon was saying he did really, really well on his trades, even though he was really, new. Like, I think you said, you lost 3 trades overall to him?
I
Or you
only-
won 3 trades overall?
I won 3 trades. Other than that, you guys let me take a complete dump on you until you got to that second floor position. Otherwise, it was just free resets and missiles, to be honest. I don't mean it to be rude, but
No.
you guys handed me 2
Free
nukes
missiles
right
or
off
free
the bat.
missiles?
I got my bases, 3rd nuke. There was no fighting it.
Hey, we didn't get elimed.
We didn't. Yeah, Josiah with that
True.
one life.
I
You're
saw
just-
you.
Josiah walked
Okay,
away with
but I
the
saw
skin of your
you,
teeth
and I
achievement.
totally saw the lights too, and I clipped up my phaser, and I was like,
Next game.
You came back for a vengeance, Fear Turkey.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Knocking
Game
me
was
out
kinda
with
brutal.
300 points and Siberian Death.
I will say Poe rage quit that game. So we were down to 4 men, and we were real pissed about it.
Which somehow worked to your advantage. Less targets for us to try to reset you with.
That was the one that we stomped you on, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
that was where
Yeah.
none of us got Eland, and we
you
took 3
guys
of them
killed
out.
Romley in
We
2
killed,
minutes.
yeah.
It was 2 minutes flat. I had 19 lives, and I'm not gonna run around with 19 lives. I kicked my pack from the game and walked out.
We do not condone that behavior at LLT.
Yeah.
Trademark.
I condone that behavior. If you ever have 19 lives and 0 shots,
You play it out like a man.
don't
Next.
play it out
In a
like
tournament
that.
play
As
style,
an
you have to
employee,
play it
I
out.
condone his decision.
In a
Yeah.
tournament play
Get
style,
out
you
of here,
have to play it
Walker.
Get
out.
out of here, Walker.
Yeah, get
You
out of
weren't
here.
even introduced.
I know.
I wasn't I don't introduced. care. I'm
You weren't
still
introduced
here
because
and
you
I'm
were off
still
being
a part
edgy
of
and
this.
smoking.
No,
Ooh.
All right, next.
Pulling the edgy
then-
card.
Well,
So yeah,
so-
Fear Turkey just sort of went ham and nuked 2 of our players out within 3 minutes.
Yeah,
it was
that
bad.
And
was
then I
rough.
accidentally canceled one.
Yeah.
He canceled my second, which would have put me at
10
5
10K?
times the amount of anyone else on our team. It was
Yeah.
It's 10 times worse.
it was a slaughter. It completely they just lost control of the game after their ammo died. It just was a mess.
Well, and it wasn't even just that the ammo died. It was the fact that you got Mischief and you got the ammo at the same time. So the fact
Yeah.
that both of them died at the same time, no heavy, no ammo, and
And then Braum
Slaughtermelon's out of shots. So now all they've got is their medic and their scout with shots and lives. They've got nothing.
That game, we got our stuff together. Our resupplies were actually giving us doubles. We were actually starting to function as a machine as
once we
opposed
found
to
each
just
other.
having a bunch of different gears.
We're just screaming at each other.
Yeah.
Makes me really happy
figured that
knowing
out.
that you two are doing so well on resupply because we get to take you with us to Detroit.
Yeah.
Better watch out, Detroiters.
Oh, yeah.
Suck.
Resubs are on point.
Watch
Oh,
it,
yeah.
Wolfman.
Honestly, the
You're
most
gonna
actually-
get gobbled.
We got.
The most exciting part of East Coast is gonna be you guys are gonna let Fear Turkey and I finally actually play on a team together.
Yeah.
It's gonna be nice.
I don't mean to throw
'Cause you don't
shade or
get to
anything,
practice
but
together.
you guys split us off constantly, and it's a little.
It's because we gotta
triggering.
keep the
You're,
power
you're
level
pretty
even,
good together.
otherwise
Wait, you
we're
were
never
never
going to have
you
fair
were never
games.
told that you're gonna be.
We
on
don't want
team.
fair. We want wins.
Yeah, see, Mason, there comes a time in every man's life where he
Puts Caleb and Josiah on the same
Yeah.
team.
Now, when that happens, you gotta to keep this real PG here. You just gotta Be shown the 50 states.
The birds and the bees, you know what I'm saying?
It's more like the trees and the trunks, if you know what I mean.
The
And
leaves
I
in the
also want
aisle.
to say,
We gotta keep this moving. It's gonna be a half-hour long thing.
Oh, that's fine.
that's why I said we got a
we
little
had,
problem.
we had
with
one
players.
more game. That was our very last one.
That one we just did.
Extremely close. Yeah, we ended up with less than 1,000-point difference.
That's including bases too. Like Sergeant Tucker missed 2 bases. We had our ammo, HP Memecraft. Doctor Feels Good. I don't know what he's going by, but
Yeah.
he missed a base. Like we would have. The game was within 100 points if everyone got their bases, except for Tucker. If he got his bases, we would have won.
I was
but
I
whatever.
was struggling because as soon as I got downstairs to go get the bases, they were set up on Red Rock, so the only way to get past them was to lose my last lives.
Joe, know in the last 20 seconds you were by where the green starting area is?
Yeah.
Okay, I was waiting for you to leave so I can get the last 1,000-point base. If you would have just sat there and waited, you guys would have won. I wouldn't.
Oh,
get my
really?
base. Yeah.
I didn't know you were even there.
You tagged me,
Triggered.
and then I just kind of sat
yeah,
back.
I saw you behind me, and I went over to green to try and get a better position to go get green base finally.
Uh-huh.
Mason, how'd you
You-
feel
you-
about that game?
Tried to go in, and then you were like, I can't
You know,
get my shots, like they got
I
you out or
think-
something.
It killed me because
okay,
for some
it was
reason I
close.
was like not landing half my shots. So I
To
don't
be
know.
fair, in all honesty, Mischief did kind of put me on medic, and I got really tilted about it and decided to play what's called a battle medic. Now,
Don't show up for the first 5 minutes, and then you go ham for the second 5 minutes.
By the time I was
Pretty much.
finally killed, I had double the points of the enemy team. But that last 2 minutes, they actually caught up with me, and that was a little disappointing.
I was getting
But
hit in the face.
my point is, if you guys ever get a position you don't like, just go battle with it, and I promise you, your team's probably gonna be a little angry, but you might win.
You don't even understand how to play battle medic. You keep saying you.
But
do.
did I win?
It doesn't. That doesn't. Does
No,
not matter.
no.
Correlation
Did you
is
survive?
not
Did he
causation.
Win.
Did he
Did I
win?
win? Yeah,
Did
I
he
won.
win?
So
Don't encourage that.
So some people who haven't really been
So
talking
much
too
editing.
much.
Yeah.
Mason, you haven't been talking so much. What were you seeing when you were playing your scout games? Like,
I was medic.
He was medic.
he was
though.
medic.
No, I just mean
he was
he was-
kicking butt.
he was playing scout. So like, what were you having problems with? Like, were there specific people that were just doing super well? Was it just like,
Sometimes I would just get stuck between like 2 or 3 people, and I wouldn't be able to come up or do anything. So
At
Kind
that
of
point,
annoying.
You just have to kind of reposition yourself,
Yeah.
even if it's by an entire floor. You just have to
Don't-
get out of that.
Don't
Yeah,
do
I
a
don't know if
Poe
you
and be
saw
like,
in that
I
last
give up.
game, but I sprinted so hard to get out of some of your missile locks.
Oh.
Like, remember on red, John?
Yeah,
I dove behind that
was so frustrating.
turnaround. You still got me though.
Not only that, you stayed upstairs too. Like I thought I heard 2 people call out that you went downstairs. So I went over to the other ramp, and Dr. Feels Good goes down. He goes, "Luke's right there. He's right there." I was like, "What? He's still up here."
Yeah.
I will say, misplay of the century. Our boy Memosaurus, he was playing heavy in one of our games, and I was playing ammo. I got nuked down to 1 life, and I'm running down the ramp, and instead of just shooting me, he tries to missile me, and he whiffs the missile. On
so
second beep,
sad.
he pulls the trigger because he got jumpy with it, and we came back and won that game, I think.
I mean,
but
I probably should have shot you, but to be fair, I really wanted that like missile, and
You wanted the
with
satisfaction.
Yeah, I wanted the satisfaction.
you went
and you
for the
with your
greed.
weird like tilting forward to where I can't missile you, like unlike normal people who turn to the side and like lift up their shoulder. You just like duck down like a freaking turkey. Like it fits your name well, but
I've
it's
given it a
frustrating.
name. It's the duck and run.
Literally.
The duck
Alright, probably should move on to the next one.
You
Yeah,
should
you're
call
right.
it the turducken run.
The turducken
So,
run.
all right.
This one should go fast.
I'm gonna start with Mason because you haven't talked much again. Who do you think's improved the most tonight?
Me,
just tonight specifically.
Walker.
No, Walker
Walker,
is
get
in
outta
play.
here.
Get out of here.
We'd love to have you back, Walker. Come to the dark side.
We have.
all right, now we're
have
getting a little,
cookies?
we're getting a
Um,
little cultish here. Let's steer away from Craig.
Yeah, please.
We're not
know
gonna,
what?
Yeah.
I will come back if I'm not working.
Hey, what's wrong with Craig?
You know.
I
Not a lot.
don't want more
according to-
sections to edit out, please.
In
Are
all
you kidding? The
fairness,
Detroit
That's so
players
much
love
fun.
this.
Oh yeah.
It's not appropriate. That man did
All right,
things.
Mason.
What happened in
Um,
Detroit?
It stays in Detroit.
And to Colorado when they come down. But
Yeah.
I feel that everyone did really good, and everyone has just improved from my eyes, at least.
What happened last week?
Too vague. Tucker,
From
who
like last
improved
week.
the most?
I thought we were gonna go around the circle.
Looking for answers. I'm on a
I
hunt.
know. I would have to say honestly Bromley, because like it felt like he was, like it always just felt whenever I was playing with him that he feels like very rigid and like he's trying. You have to basically try and tell him what to do, and it felt like especially while he was playing with Loki, I was always seeing the two of them working in a circle together almost, and so like Loki had put one into me as the heavy, and I'd get him, and then what is it? It's Siberian Death,
Call him
right?
Bromley.
Yeah, I'll just call him Bromley at this
We're
point.
just gonna change his card name.
Yeah, we're just gonna change his card name to Bromley. He would come around and he'd get me, and like I even like told him in the middle of the games half the time. I was like, that was pretty good because I can't just handle both sides at the same time like that.
Him and
He,
Troy
uh,
had awesome synergy.
Oh yeah.
They do. And I gotta say, on the game where I played heavy and we stayed downstairs, and it was him and Mass on resupplies. For two of the newer players, when they got left alone, they did really well together, especially with the Fear Turkey on their butt trying to hunt them down.
They kept running to the other side. They were making good trails. I couldn't follow them. It was brutal. Actually, though, I do agree with Tucker. I think Bromley has improved the most out of all of us from last week, anyways. He dropped 2 key nukes that killed me out when I was playing medic. He was doing awesome. Just in general, his engages were pretty clean. He wasn't pop shotting.
He's a learning machine. He asks a lot of questions, and every week we just see him coming back with enthusiasm that we just love to hear.
Yeah.
And it's showing in his gameplay.
He
I
also
see
stabbed his
Bromley
leg.
as more of a future Slaughtermelon there. I'm
Then there's
taking
those that have stopped learning because they think they're the best.
I was about to say.
I wish it was a think thing. It's more of a no thing at this point. However, though, you did ask for my effort tonight, and I put in my effort, and it really showed with that first floor game. You asked for my effort out of that one. I put my effort into it.
You did, and we won, and you got the highest score out of everybody.
That's not an accomplishment. An accomplishment is putting 3 missiles into Dylan while he screams Germanic.
Involving our West Coast tournament, we've been doing different player ratings and levels and stuff, and so we're kind of starting to get super involved with picking our best synergetic team as our A
I think we should stop and answer Mischief's question, whatever it is.
Oh, I'm waiting.
We're doing a new system where we're taking our top 12 and we're doing qualifications for A team and B team. The people who, in our eyes, improving, keep showing a lot of prowess in different areas, stuff that makes a team in general just like a whole shebang. We want to try and take first in this West Coast. We have a bunch of teams coming out, so we want to put out our best. If people are disappointed with their placements, stuff like that, they can try and talk to us, but we're probably just going to end up sticking with it anyways, so no hard feelings.
Do we have any confirmation on dates?
It's either going to be the week of January 22nd or January 15th is what it's looking like.
When do we get to find that out?
As soon as Jeff messages me back about whether or not certain days or got parties or stuff locked in.
It's just funny looking.
So I think we'll know
hey,
probably
hey.
by a little bit after East Coast. We'll probably.
If he doesn't
know.
text me back within the week, I'm just going to find Zach and I'm going to lock it in. So
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Cool.
We
It's
should
just
check
funny
that.
looking at the page. It's like the last 5 messages are all like, so
When are
when's
the
these-
dates? When are
when's
the dates? When are the dates?
Yeah.
Like
Hey man, I wish I knew.
even I was kind of just like, because I've been trying to get an answer and I keep asking for your turkey. He's like, I don't know. He's like, nobody's voting.
It's getting ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that being said, we're going to go ahead and just kind of give some thoughts on the current A and B team. It's really up in the air right now, and we have so many talented growing players here at Loveland that it's a really hard choice for us. But just some of the things we've noticed. You
I
can go
would-
ahead and start, Turkey.
I was about to say, I would like to say before we start that no one argue what people say. Just let everyone talk.
So as far as our actual ratings are going, our top 2 players are pretty cemented. There's not really a way for them to fall out unless they decide that they don't want to play off the A team, because they, as far as their player rating and their scores are going, like their averages, they are continuing to teach people and grow at the same time. They're just staying above the rest of the pack. They're pretty cemented in A team, but from those bottom spots all the way down to about the 10th space, you're going to be looking at a lot of fluctuation. It's free game for those bottom 4 spots on A team and those top 6 in B team. So like really anybody can get on either team. That's kind of what we're looking at. Those top 2 players are looking like myself, the Fear Turkey, and Mischief, who is Luke. We're both kind of just like looking at how we can help other people improve. We're doing a lot of work with like figuring out how to communicate better, stuff like that. We're trying to come up with new ways to play with our arena, and we keep just discovering new things, and it's actually been a lot of fun. In our 3rd and 4th place, we actually have almost like a 3-way tie for 3rd, which is between Loki, Sergeant Tucker, and the Slaughtermelon. They're both just like right up in there. Specifically, Troy is in the lead. Loki, I mean. Although he's not super adept at like hardcore trading, stuff like that, like scoring a ton of points, he is extremely knowledgeable about where he needs to be, when to talk, how to say it, stuff like that, how to outsmart your opponents, stuff like that. He can play every class to the best of his ability and not hinder his team.
He's extraordinarily consistent.
Yeah.
It's really true. He's
He also-
one of our best thinkers in the game.
He also developed what we jokingly call the shadow walk because he's so tall and he just vanishes.
He's very quiet when he wants to be, and he can turn that around immediately and be super loud.
And then, of course, Joe, Sergeant Tucker, he's been to a lot of tournaments with us, and the experience he's gotten there has really started to show in his gameplay when he has to take charge of situations, when he has to play a 3-shot or a scout. Even though his primary roles are resupplies, like he just knows his game mechanics forward and backwards, and that's extremely valuable to the teams that he's on. And I would say the same kind of criticism, compliments go to Slaughtermelon, that he's really learned his mechanics, especially let his team reset off of him, getting resets on people. As an attacker, he's improved as far as his mechanics go significantly.
All 3 of them are within fighting distance for that 3rd spot. Like it's super close between all 3 of them.
But yeah, let's talk about some of the other people that we're considering for the final 3 spots.
A couple people didn't really show up tonight, but one of our 2 biggest contenders is a man named Zenless, who is Seth.
Love that man.
He is so good at laser tag, it's ridiculous. He plays a real mean medic, he plays a real mean heavy. The only thing that he ever complains about playing is Commander, oddly enough, but...
That's why I love that man.
For someone who complained about being rusty, his first day back, he still stomped us half the time. Like...
He was doing so well.
Yeah. Put him on heavy and he just stomped everybody, and it was like, all right.
Thing about Zenless is that he needs to improve his firepower a bit. He needs to work on being able to come around corners and trade with people. He can be a little too patient at times. He's quite a bit of a thinker, kind of like Troy. But because of that, his patience and his cool-headedness in game, he plays a really mean resupply, meaning he's consistent. He's always there in the right spot when you need him to be.
He's always thinking about where he should be. He's really good about that. He does need to work on like kind of giving up. He does this thing where he's kind of like, well, I guess I'm gonna get missiled kind of thing, instead of like trying to dodge it or shoot the person who's trying to missile him. He just kind of tries to run away.
To be fair, a lot of the Loveland players need to learn that mechanic because we haven't all really gone over that yet.
I was going to do that if we had more people, part of the heavy workshop. We're going to play a game of Shadows. Everyone gets a partner, and you just have to try to dodge each other's missiles. Like, I'm going to force you all to learn it.
That's going to be fun.
It's going to be dope.
Let's say I already dodged yours, so...
Yeah, you and Eric and Josiah are all really good at it. I'm not. Other players are not. So you need to teach us the ways.
You know who is insanely good at dodging missiles? Was Noah Cross.
Oh my god.
Could
It's because
not
he's
land a
tiny
missile
and
on
he
the-
can like
he just
shrinks and you're just like, where are the targets?
He would like crouch and do a somersault. You just couldn't hit him. You're like,
Except his feet would like never leave the ground. Like he'd never you just suddenly see him go
I
from
watched
one
him-
side of the arena to the other, and you're just like, how did you do that?
one game, I believe it was on Halloween because I was wearing my Richtofen uniform, but I was with Holly. We were on the 2nd floor in the red cubby, and we were just watching you guys play Shadows. And he was in the red cubby. I mean, the dude was just like flailing jumping up and down. Like, I've never seen a human being move so fast in my life. Absolutely annihilated everyone. I think he got like 60K.
What
Yeah,
a shame
that
he's
was-
in Arizona.
Yeah, I know.
I miss-
What a
I
shame
mean-
he's not playing
Get
anymore.
back
Back
to
to Fear
Noah.
Turkey, because he hasn't finished his list yet.
Anyways, so Seth is kind of like super close for that 6th spot on our A team. The person who is contesting him and is a little bit like shaky with it is our guy. His name is Feeder. His real name's Eric. He's super good at basically every class. He knows how to do things. His main class, I would say, is heavy. He plays a pretty mean heavy weapons. He's super loud. The dude has a voice that just like travels across miles of freaking terrain. He can play basically everything to the same ability that he plays as heavy. It's just he's kind of a turret, if that makes sense.
Who?
Eric.
Cool.
Yeah. He plays a pretty mean turret. Just stand in one place, yell exactly what you're doing, shoot you before you can shoot him, and that's Eric.
He's like the person in CSGO and other games that aimbots you, and you're just like, can you not?
I want to talk about Dr. Feelgood for a second.
So he's right below that tier. Like he's like, I think the exact number is about 5 points below both of them, to the point where it's like he could easily qualify for A team if he really pushed himself to like get to that point. His firepower is super high. He can trade super well. He struggles a little bit with knowing where he is. Communication is his absolute strong suit. I'll wait.
We're in the parking lot, by the way.
Man, that needs some work.
In case you didn't know, his fuel injectors are disgusting.
I would believe it.
Sounds like
Yeah, Dr. Feelgood's fuel injector is disgusting.
Yeah, do not touch his fuel injectors.
It really does
Very
get my-
nasty. I've
But the
been
thing
down there
is-
before.
That's probably
The thing is, we have some players who have already acquired some higher up spots because of their experience, and then we have some newer players that are coming in, and they have about the next month and a half to get at the level they need to be for A team. That's why it's such a close contest. I've just seen Dr. Feelgood improve so much over the past month, and with going to East Coast, he's going to get his first outside LOT experience, which I know for all of us is like going through puberty. You just learn so much. You are so surprised by what other people can do in tournaments and the skill level that's out there, and you start to rethink how the game functions from a core level.
And you'll be able to grow a beard.
Yeah, none of that. Yeah.
If you can do that,
Yeah.
you have in a spot on the A team guaranteed.
Yeah.
Grow a 5-inch beard.
You got 4 months.
I would try, but mine curls too much, and I only grow around the neck for some reason. I can't get it to grow on my actual face.
Can't get 5
You're
inches.
destined
Does
to
that
play-
include me?
No.
5
Joe, you're
inches.
destined to play
I can grow a
Magic.
5-inch
That's
beard
the
by
Magic.
January.
Okay, I need to see
I'm
it.
getting ready to sell all
Okay.
my cards. then.
I have a spot on A team then.
Jewish genetics.
Prove it. You
A
gotta be.
5-inch beard
I would
by
like to-
January,
Yeah.
and you'd get a spot on
Automatically qualify
a
for AT.
Loveland team.
I would like to.
That
however,
could
say
be
I
the
am-
employee team though, which is a C team.
So,
Anyway,
anyways, I agree with you. Dr. Feelgood is improving immensely. He's doing so well. He can trade. He can do basically anything that he really feels like he needs to. Sometimes, though, he gets in his own head, and he puts himself in this situation where he gets less and less thoughtful about what he's doing, and he creates almost his own turmoil where he exaggerates situations. Like if Slaughtermelon will be pounding him into the dirt, but he almost like blames his team for the Slaughtermelon pounding him into the dirt instead of just like being like, oh, Caleb's beating me.
you know, I used to get like
It's
that a
only
lot.
Anakin.
I used to get like that a lot, but slowly I started to realize that the more you play games, the more sometimes you'll try your hardest thinking you're losing and then go out and look at the scoreboard and suddenly you've just totally won, even if it's only by 1,000 points. I think just getting that hope, that willingness to not know what's going on at all times will be immensely helpful. Who else?
So right under him, we have our main man, Ryan. His codename's Phantom. He came with us to Sacramento. He did pretty well as a scout as far as like we expected him to.
What were your expectations, Joe?
We didn't have
Well,
any.
you know, Ryan, he'd only played in our arena before, and he's really good at stomping people out as a scout or commander. He's incredibly aggressive and yet spooky and ghosty. The thing is him and his personality and his his motivation in game and his game sense, his
The wa-
thinking.
So, one of the issues with Ryan, or Phantom, he really struggles with trying to follow like a specific strategy. He really doesn't like laser tag in a constructed format. He likes kind of just rolling the dice and going for it kind of thing. He is really good when he's flying by the seat of his pants. Like he can score 11K on Commander, drop like 4 nukes and just crush a game. But then there are situations where he's like doing whatever he wants and he's tagging bases during nukes, like instead of pushing, and it's just
You're
sometimes
never gonna let that go, are you?
he did it in our arena.
I
Like
almost,
he's
I
gonna.
just want to reference, like, and not to like try and insult anybody, but the way the Detroit tournament was going, or the Syracuse tournament was going, it's very similar to like when Micro would hang on to his nukes. Ryan's very individual oriented, which isn't always a bad thing because it allows him to dominate a game, but it can sometimes cost his team really bad.
Yeah, in his head, it's all about how he's doing, not quite so much how the team's doing. He has an expectation for everyone else to perform their functions and for him to perform his.
Which isn't necessarily a bad mentality. He just
Until
like
you're losing.
it just puts more stress on him when things don't go the way that he expects them to, which is weird because he doesn't go in with a strategy, right? So it's like he goes in expecting other people to do something but not having expectations for them at the same time. So it's kind of like, how do you know like what the right thing to do is in certain times? And like he absolutely has this super explosive like trading potential where he can absolutely stomp anyone in our arena, but it's just like, is that going to come out? When is it going to come out? How is he going to put it to use for his team? And
Trust me, I got this.
yeah, in his own words, trust me, I got this. He puts his hand on my shoulder. Like, it's just,
Phantom is very much the opposite play style of Loki.
yes.
Extraordinarily inconsistent.
And yet they're both
They're both top tier.
stealth-oriented.
Yeah.
They're both like, they play with the idea of not wanting you to know where they are. But outside of that, they're opposite ends of the spectrum.
Ryan's problem is he's sometimes he just kind of gets in his own head, kind of like I do, but instead of overthinking the situation, he doesn't think about it at all and thinks about memes.
To be fair, what's hard about Ryan, what makes him hard to play against, like the reason he's so good at what he does, is there's no way for you to know what he is going to do 100% because he doesn't know what he's doing,
It's
right?
like fighting Deadpool. It's like you can't predict me if I can't predict me.
If he doesn't know where he's going, then how are you supposed to know where he's going? Like, he doesn't track what he's doing. He just kind of like is like, maybe this is a good way to go kind of thing. Like, hey, green base kind of thing. And it just is, it's so fun to watch him play because it's just kind of like super just, where am I? What can I take advantage of? And he's super good at maximizing that potential. And that's kind of why he's where he is on B team.
He definitely knows the arena though, since he also is an employee.
Yeah,
So-
he totally knows the arena. He's got
Which is why it's triggering when he takes bases instead of pushing when we nuke.
All right, let's continue though, so Luke doesn't have to edit 40 minutes of this thing.
This is almost 40 minutes long.
So
Yeah.
our next
So
next
what's the
guy,
tip?
his name is Jarrett. His codename is the Scoutman. He wasn't here tonight. He'll
He
start.
needs to come back. He needs to,
He's
to
only
quit
going to come
band.
back if we change days. Like he's already admitted that.
No,
I've
he-
already talked to I've talked to you guys all about this
He's coming back.
mid-November.
You didn't
and
tell me.
if I have to say this again,
If you swear,
He will swear on audio again.
I'll swear I will say the F word so many effing F
Stop it.
times.
Okay, you've gone too
Moving
far.
on.
Anyways, he'll be back somewhere around like November, like right after East Coast, basically like a week or so.
Once Colorado
He'll be
ends.
bringing his brother back too. But the thing about
Ooh, and
him
the Aaron
is he's just super out of practice. Last time we played with him was like a week ago or something on a Sunday.
Uh-oh.
He came in and he showed us exactly where he was, and he hasn't like lost any of his skills, so we can really do a lot of assumptions based off of that. The dude is super short, which makes his heavy game really menacing for weird reasons. He can out-trade most of the people that he goes up against because they don't really know where he is. It makes it hard for him, though, because if he's playing against tall people, they can just aim in one area and they can just shoot him. But at the same time, like, if he bends over and he goes super low, like, he's going to be way lower than anybody else is able to, like, really expect. He's still
It's like the Rusty Crab block.
basically, I guess, but he does this super obnoxious yell where he is just like, Josiah's on me kind of thing, and like it's just ear bleeding, and every single person within a 100-mile radius can hear him.
He gets super angry sometimes too.
He gets real
Yeah,
frustrated,
he can tell.
but
He just needs to come back, show he's got a lot of practice, and he'll be back in the game before you know it. But I do want to give a talk out to John.
our next person, his name is John Calkins, not Bromley. He his codename is Mimosaurus. He plays a real mean scout, like it's just super good. He's still super new to the game. He'll be coming with us to East Coast. He's gonna be one of the mercs, I believe, right?
We'll
Yeah.
see. We need to see if he gets his grades up.
It's either gonna Merc or be on our subs.
It depends on Ryan, but Mimosaurus is kind of like Bromley, where he continuously will ask questions. How can I do better? What did I mess up on?
But then he gets like Slaughtermelon. When he starts winning, he gets
Arrogant.
I was gonna say cocky, but arrogant works too.
He's following in your
Hurt my
footsteps for
feelings.
sure.
Yeah,
That's
stop
not a bad.
that.
That's
Stop
not a
leaving
bad
that trail.
mentality because it can lead you to more victories, but it can also
Debatable.
lead you to falter really bad too.
Debatable too.
You always think before you do.
Debatable.
Oh, they can't beat me.
Yeah, the thing is, I met him a few months ago. He was just an employee, never even played Space Marines. He's only been playing for a couple months now.
He's improved
And
drastically.
he had that thing where he would come in for regular games and like color conquest and destroy people. So he had the skill already. He's just trying to get over the roadblocks of learning how the game is and expanding your mindset on when is it okay to not go out and score a ton of points to help my team win the game, or
Trails, when should I drop nukes, when shouldn't I?
just all the game rules.
Oh,
He's figuring it out quick though.
Yeah.
He played a really good heavy game today because as the medic, I only saw you, Joe, about 3 times, and I saw Noah like once. So for me, he did pretty good on heavy today.
Yeah, he almost killed me if he didn't try to missile
Yep, he's got to learn
And
little things
that's
like that.
cocky.
Like it's better to shoot one person than try to get a missile.
and miss.
Especially if you know they're gonna get away.
Yeah.
Next thing about John, he's really coming together as a trader. Like he can reset the heck out of people. He understands exactly when people are gonna pop up, when to shoot them, stuff like that. He's got a really positive mentality on Space Marines in general, but like his specific like context, he's gonna be a good commander. Like when he starts coming into his own, he's
Oh
gonna
yeah,
be so
after these
good.
2 tournaments, he's gonna be right up with the big boys.
Don't
probably
go
be
that
telling
far.
us.
I was about to say right up there with Slaughtermelon because he's catching up on you, dude. He just needs
he
a few.
is.
You have him on experience.
Yeah, John's biggest issue is definitely just lack of experience, lack of tournament style play,
Oh, for
which was my issue for a really long time, and I'm just now starting to kind of come out of my old habits where I was thinking in terms of myself, not in terms of the game.
Oh, here comes Mimosaurus himself. Right after we just talked about him.
Oh, I'm
Let's
sorry.
move on to Bromley.
You talk crap about me?
Talk.
You
I
know it.
Speak
We
of the devil,
actually
and he
did.
shall
With you a
appear.
lot.
Don't you know?
Yeah, exactly. I guess I am the devil.
For those of you who don't know, he totally just left and
Yeah.
came back because he forgot his hoodie because he's a scrub. But
Devil went down to Loveland.
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
No,
I
we've
now I
already
got-
passed
now I
our Loveland
got- now I gotta make a
devil.
parody. Like,
That went through our digestive
I was
system.
about to say, that wasn't a Loveland devil, that was the
he
Fort
was looking
Collins
for a hoodie
devil.
to steal.
so
We're not
I
gonna
thought
that,
I
though.
was the
We
devil.
need to skip Nathan.
no, that's my dad.
Let's just go to Pat Mason.
I will say that we have not reevaluated our list in a bit, our player ratings and everything. So we still need to do that for this week.
I was about to say, I
Personally-
remember being up till 2 a.m. with you, listening to you typing out the messages.
Personally, I think that Bromley did just surpass Nathan. Just because
Wait, we have someone named Nathan?
Nathan
Hoke.
Hoke.
Remember
Oh,
the
yes, I showed up
Swag
for so
Star.
long.
He's
Swagstar.
hurt. He's got a
He's
broken
he's
I know.
he's got a super messed up wrist, and he's got school stuff, so he's not gonna be able to come until like November-ish as well. But
Nathan was a mad good trader though. Like that dude's firepower was insane.
That man was all offense.
Not only
he would
that,
be in
his-
your face and he
his
would not leave
callouts.
you.
It was almost like if you were on defense and he was on offense, unless he for some reason left, or like there was almost no chance of him losing where you were. He knew where you were. Someone could come up and be like, "Yo, where are they at?" And he just scream it at the top of his lungs. They're in the fun box, or they're in, Dylan's
Gas
corners. We're now
chamber.
calling it.
Oh.
We're not going to call it that anymore.
Sorry.
So
Jeez, dude, we can't put you on these anymore.
I
The
know.
thing
I was about
about-
to say Caleb's not invited back.
the thing about Nathan is we actually, behind his back, we've been calling him the gorilla because the way that he walks, he's just like super broad and he's just huge.
Total silverback.
He looks massive and like he does this weird thing
Yeah.
where he just charges you as fast as he can and then he gets super low, like his head is where your knees are and he just like pulls the trigger as fast as he can on Scout. And it's just like, what is happening kind of
he
thing.
crosses from the bottom of that ramp to the top of that ramp in like a second.
Yeah, he's
He
one
can
of our
sprint
fast.
that so fast.
He's one of our fastest players. He's just super out of practice. And back from when I remember playing with him, he was not vocal about when he needed stuff. Like, do you need resupplies is something that you would have to ask him. He wasn't able to. He wouldn't really just say like, "Hey, I need shots," kind of thing. It would be kind of like, "So, can I get a double?" kind of thing. Like when everything's calmed down and he should have gotten a double like 10 seconds ago. But like he's not a bad laser tag player by any means.
But Bromley, I would agree with that because it's just him. He's getting that experience and he's asking so many questions. He's getting to a point where we can start to trust him on any given role. I think Heavy's probably his weakest right now. He just doesn't have experience with that. But his resupplies today were completely on point. Him and Mason were getting doubles constantly, like on the dot. They were learning to shoot people as they come up, just learning like little nicks and tricks that help him match up with the rest of us when he needs to.
He killed me with his nukes. Like he knew exactly when he needed to drop them.
Nuke timing.
He went downstairs and he hid instead of just like being somewhere in the fight. Like he was really smart about it. He dropped him. He killed me. He was doing awesome.
Yeah.
The next thing about him is his communication. He's constantly talking with his buddy. He's like taking charge. He's leading the way of where he needs to take his medic when he's playing ammo. When he plays heavy, he's really bad about like he doesn't really know kind of where to be, I guess. Like he just like is a little bit unaware of the whole class as a heavy just because he hasn't played it very much, which is just
But lastly, we need to move on. We have Sason Mailer. He's gone.
Yeah.
So let's talk about him.
I absolutely believe that he is right up there with Bromley and Nathan. After today, I was watching the way that he wasn't panicking. He's been getting so much better about like making his own decisions, and I've been watching him take his own initiatives. He's been making so many key plays on Scout. Like he just in general, he like will give me this bug-eyed look where he's like, "I'm activating rapid fire," and then he just like charges in and just smashes people and like it's just at weird times because the way that he plays Scout is kind of like how Ryan plays it, where neither of them really know what they're doing, but at the same time Mason functions with his team. He understands the strategy a little bit better, and so he's really talking and figuring out where he needs to be as opposed to just like randomly appearing and disappearing. He's getting so good at those jump trades too, like just jumping up and putting 3 into you before you can come back up. So
I want to throw in, he's getting better about not tilting from game to game.
That is true.
Like when he'll get upset. He used to get really upset over losses, and then like it'd carry into the next game. So
Lastly, I'd just like to kind of add, Mischief and I have talked a lot about just everybody's kind of weaknesses, I guess, is what we more or less focused on as we've been driving around together the last couple of days. But Mason's weakness is definitely that he feels kind of unconfident making decisions. He likes to puppy dog his heavy around a lot, which can turn into a huge reset issue really quickly. But I encouraged him a lot tonight. I was like, you were doing good. Like your biggest thing is just that you need to move around a little bit more.
Yeah, he needs to be not afraid to make mistakes. He's starting to get the game, and because of that, he can start learning what's good and what works and what doesn't on his own, not just off what other people do. Well, we have to wrap this up here. We're at 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So I think after all my fucks, we're gonna definitely be down a bit.
Caleb,
this is never happening again.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you're not getting invited back now. Like you're just digging.
I
your
have
hole
to
deeper.
listen to the whole thing and listen for you.
Well, that's a good
Okay.
thing. It's 45 minutes of this beautiful voice.
So
You
this
didn't
has
even
been our
talk that
first
much.
Leveling podcast, and see you next week.